Krell Erdick came to us about 18 months, 20 months ago and said they wanted to purchase some land outside that surrounds their Krell permafrost tunnel. They contacted us saying that they wanted to expand the permafrost tunnel. They wanted to be able to dig into one of the properties that is owned by Mental Health and Trust. And one of that requirements is for us to be able to do a site visit of the area to verify there's no encroachments or any concerns that we need to identify and address before we actually take that ownership of that property. So today was our opportunity to go up, do a flyover. We partnered with the Army National Guard, who took us up, a couple great pilots and staff that took us up, did that flyover for that particular project. And then down by the Dike Range, we also have some encroachment issues that are happening that are on both Chena property and the Army property. So we wanted to go up and see if there's any movement. We've been addressing these concerns with the landowners, asking them to pull back their vehicles because it's next to a junkyard. So those vehicles have been pushed through fencing and onto our property. So we've been going out there quite regularly to see how much movement's been happening. They have pulled back quite a bit. There's a long way to go, but at least we're seeing movement with that. So that's a positive on our side. So those are the two things that we did when we were up in that Blackhawk.
It definitely helps limit the freedom that private property owners feel to trespass and encroach on our lands if they know that we're annually, at very least annually, going to be out there examining our property and saying, hey, you do have these items that are on our property and you need to pull them back. So it's super important to walk it very frequently and have a very observable presence. And we usually also annually stop and chat with anybody who's on property just to kind of make that double known. So yeah, super important also to make sure that the trespass and contamination hasn't spread even further and is hopefully, in this case, being remediated.
One, it is our land. Two, is because you're talking about environmental contaminants that they have, all these were vehicles and they weren't drained, they weren't cleaned, they were literally just come out here and parked after they've been demolished or trashed or whatever. So it's the environmental concern we also have, especially you're along the dike area. So if you have flooding, you just now incorporated all that extra contaminants onto the property. So that's kind of one of the reasons we're looking into it.
In the encroachment handbook, there's typically 3 ways of resolving an encroachment. One is by granting them more land, which we've done previously, and we see that didn't work out very well. It just happened again. 2 is by contacting them and basically asking them to resolve it on their own. And then 3 is asking OC to throw it up to the local DA for prosecution. So we've done all of those things.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I would like the Corps to know and all the groups that we work with is that I always say my motto is that we need to be the first in, the last out. And it's not because I'm going to do your work last, it's that if real estate hasn't got there and got permission to be there to do the job that you want to do, then we're not covered. We've just now put the government at risk. So real estate should be your first person that you go to and say, hey, this is what we want to do. How do we make it happen and make it happen legally? So we should be the first one in. Once we're done and we've cleared up and we're gone out, we should be the ones to go back in to say, have we finished? And now let's close out that project. And then we can now take that responsibility off the government. So we take those risks away. So you should always have real estate involved in anything. And then if you don't know, come ask. We'll definitely let you know.
Real estate is often not thought of until it's a problem, because it's really easy to think, oh, it's Army land, we can just do what we want, but that isn't always the case. And so the only thing that I would really love for people to know is that real estate should be first in and last out. If you need to use property, we should be probably asked some questions just to make double sure that we do have the right permissions and ownership of that land to use.